Shabbat Shalom, Israel.
Shabbat Shalom.
All right, so once again, we are here on this Sabbath day. We're going to get ready to get into our Sabbath day lesson. Of course, we have a few people out today, but that's good. We're going to go along. We're going to go ahead and go on with this lesson. Maybe they'll fill in as we go. If not, we still going forward with the lesson. So this lesson right here is basically what we're going to do is we're going to deal with the wheat and the tares, right? It is open discussion once again, where we all can, you know, it's always with every Sabbath, that we can all pop in if need be, or if we desire to pop in. So we're going to start this lesson off actually in John. Well, I'm going to go ahead and do Eric's read. Okay, let's go ahead. Brother Jones, can you pull up Ephesians 2, 1 and 2? And brothers, remember we're not doing mics. We're not doing mics, so we got to speak out loud for the recording to actually pick us up. So let's go with Ephesians 2, Brother Chauncey and Brother Darren. If you can pull up Luke 22:31, and Brother Reggie, you're gonna be with John 12 and 24. Yes, you would. Luke 22 and 31. Brother Chauncey, you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Ephesians chapter 2, verse 1. And you have he quickened.
And he's speaking to Israel, and he has quickened. But now listen, at this particular time, the Apostle Paul this letter went out to the Ephesians. He was teaching, Ephesians. So he was talking about the people that had gained the understanding that the Most High had given it to them, and they had accepted the covenant and began to live by the covenant of the Most High. And then it says what?
Who were dead in trespasses and sins.
At one time, these people were dead in trespasses, and they were dead in sin. And that second verse?
Where in the time past ye walked according to the course of this world.
And we got to understand that if you walk in the course of this world, more than likely, you have some trespasses and sins attached to you. Okay, and read.
According to the prince of power of the air.
Who is this prince of power of the air? Huh? You got it. Right. That's House of Ton, Satan, right? So it's saying that. So when you live in the course of this world, you live in according to what? The way Satan wants you to live. So if there are things inside this world that's more important to you than the things that the Most High, there got to be a separation there. There got to be a circumcision take place. You got to be cut off from this world at some point in your mind, or that is your priority in life, right? Because if you don't, then you live according to what Satan wants you to live, the way he wants you to live. Read.
The spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience.
So now he's saying that same spirit that's in the power of the air, right, in accordance to this world, it says that the children of disobedience live that way, right? But it says that we have been what? We have been quickened, meaning we have gotten an understanding of the truth and of the law, statute, commandment, and definitely the covenant between the Most High and our forefathers. All right? And Brother Darren, if you go ahead and give me Luke 22. But we got to beware of something here. Here it comes, Brother Darren.
Luke 22, verse 31.
And
our Mashiach said.
And our Mashiach said what?
Simon, Simon.
Listen now, y'all know who Simon is. Simon is Peter. Am I correct? Simon Peter. Remember, he's the same one that said, if I can just stick my finger in that hole in your side, I believe that you was resurrected. Right? That was Dalton Thomas. I'm sorry, that was Dalton Thomas. I got mixed up on that one. Either way. Right. Simon Peter is the one that did the denial. But either way, Simon wasn't right. That's why he called him twice. He said, Simon, Simon. Behold.
Satan hath desired to have you.
See, this is everybody. Satan have a desire to have anybody that has been quickened by the Most High, that he have given these laws, statutes, and they are living by them, and and they're trying to keep the covenant with him. Satan have a desire for you. If you already living like the world, and you already living in accordance to the world, what is the desire? Satan don't need to pursue you. He already got you. He already had you. What are they going to look for you for? Right? So it says that he have a desire to have you what?
That he may sift you as wheat.
Meaning he may be able to pull you away. That's his desire. Remember, he's out like a roaring lion trying to see what? Who he can devour. That's what he do. That's his job. Right? So, Brother Red, you give me John 12. John 12 and 24. And we're going to go down from 24 through 26. John 12 and 24.
John 12, 24.
Uh-huh.
Verily, verily, I say unto you,
It said, verily, verily, truly, truly, I say unto you,
except the corn of wheat fall into the ground and die,
unless a corn, it says, except a corn of wheat fall into the ground and die, what?
it abideth alone.
It abides alone. It's just sitting there on the stalk by himself. Watch, read.
But if it die,
Uh-huh.
it bringeth forth much fruit.
Okay, so let's think about that. So when wheat dies, when it falls over, right? Because as long as it's sticking up on that stalk, it cannot be fertile by the ground. But once it falls over to the ground, it can be fertilized by the ground and do what? Grow more wheat. Right? Read that 25th verse.
He that loveth his life shall lose it.
He that loves his life and shall lose it. Anybody that loves their life so much the way that this world, that by the living of the world, this is a great, it's like your boy Trump saying gonna make America great again. I'm like, we're gonna make this world great again. We want, we so in love with this world that we want to live in this world the way it is. It's just the best thing ever happened to us, right? And not ever want to die. They got, I don't want to get into a whole lot of that, but they got different rumors out about Illuminati people and what they do, but that's on them. We're going to stick with the word. It says, he that loveth his life shall lose it, and what?
And he that hateth his life in this world shall keep it until life eternal.
Remember, he said, in this present world, right? Because what? We should be praying that the kingdom comes.
Yeah.
We should be praying that the kingdom come. We shouldn't be that, avoiding that prayer. We shouldn't be avoiding the prayer. I'm not going to say the prayer about the kingdom coming because I don't want to die. In order for the kingdom to come, I gotta die, right? But it's just like that wheat. Unless you die, right? But then too, there's gonna be some people that's gonna live right through tribulations, right? But we can't be so focused on this world and want to stay a part of this world that we miss the kingdom. And that 26 verse says what?
If any man shall serve me,
and how do you serve the Most High? How do you actually serve Him? Because He said, if you love me, do what? Right? And the commandments, a part of the commandments is what? Now you got the commandments, but a part of those commandments, somewhere along the line in there's a covenant that's tied in there. And that covenant is a part of what we have to do in order to what? Serve the Most High. And read. Let him
follow me.
Let him follow me. Okay?
And where I am,
Uh-huh.
there shall also my servant be.
But see, the thing is, a lot of people think that they take this right here and they run out of content with it. Because we know that when He was resurrected back into the Father. We know where the Father is, right? Okay, we can say it out loud. We know where the Father is. The Father's in heaven, am I correct?
Right.
But they know that He was resurrected back to the Father, so a lot of people go away and say, where I am, right, there shall also my servant be. A lot of people believe that's why a lot of people believe that they're going to heaven. Right there, in a nutshell. That put that right in their mind right there, right? But we also know what Revelations 21, 1 through 5 begin to talk about, so we're not going to get into that too much either. But if you read that, the next part of that.
If any man shall serve me, him will my Father honor.
So how can people not serve the Father, not keep the Sabbath, not keep the laws, not keep up with the covenant and say that they're blessed? Is it possible? Based on scripture, is it possible? I would say no. Right? Brother Charles, let me get Matthew 13 and 24. Matthew 13 and 24. So remember, we're talking about the wheat and the tare.
Matthew 13, chapter, verse 24.
Uh-huh.
Another parable put he forth unto them, saying.
Okay, the people that was following Hamashiach, around Yeshua, they would follow him around and they would ask questions and everything. But he gave a parable, and that parable what?
The kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which soweth good seed in his field.
Why would he take the kingdom? And then it didn't say kingdom in heaven. Did it say kingdom of? Right. So that kind of like debunks what happened up there earlier we was talking about. So why would he take a seed or a seed that had been sown in a field and then liken it into what? Into the kingdom of heaven. Because it's what? Exactly. Anybody want to go a little bit deeper than the Bible? No?
Seed is what uses to produce.
Right.
It produces. And I'm sitting up here as a wellness coach, as a health coach, and just look at all the different, the wheat, the seeds, and how they just manipulate our food.
Right. Exactly.
93% of this country's wheat crop is artificial, genetically artificial. It's not real. The water is contaminated. All our fruit don't have seeds.
Right.
When I was in school, the definition of a fruit included a seed.
So I heard on the news. I'm a news buff, right? That's when I'm driving my car, and I heard on the news yesterday that they're coming up with a meat that everybody can eat that's more healthy for them, is what they say, without killing an animal.
Beyond Meat.
What is it called?
The beef, like the burgers they make out of beef.
Right.
Beyond Meat. Yeah.
Beyond. It's called Beyond Meat.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Is it like, it's plant-based, I believe, but.
Yeah, it's like made of beets and they got a lot of different plants and.
But is that a healthy meat or? I'm scared of what they might put in there to keep it together. I don't know if they're gonna put Elmer's glue in there. I don't know.
Well, that's the same thing. That's the same thing with your meat. If you don't get a meat with a bone in it, then they use meat glue. They take scraps from, like, so when a lot of people buy roast or whatever, and if the roast doesn't have a bone, they take scraps from this part and this part, and they bind it back together, what they call a glue, a meat glue. Yeah. So you don't know then. So if you don't get anything with a bone, but the Beyond Meat, I tried it. It was pretty good. I think it might be like a tofu based type thing too.
Tofu.
Nah, there's no. Okay, it's all plant. Okay, yeah. So that one is all plant, but they have different companies that make it. Beyond Meat, Boca. What's the other company? It starts with a T. It's a brand. Toro or Tora. Something like that. They all sell them in the store. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So we see now, according to scripture, it says that this man, right, that took his field and he sowed good seed in this field. And he sowed good seed into this field. This field was considered as being of an enlightenment of the kingdom of heaven, right? So we know that our Hamashiach is this man that they talk about. And we know that he sowed a seed, am I correct? Let's just figure out, what did he sow? Let's go to Genesis 14. Genesis 14 and 18. Let's see what was actually sown because we have to look at it for what it is, right? It's not, no, it wasn't that they planted wheat. He didn't plant greens. He didn't plant apple trees. He didn't plant pear trees and a bunch of squash or nothing like that. He didn't do that. He did something else. And it started far back, right? Genesis 14, verse 18.
Genesis 14, verse 18.
Uh-huh.
And Melchizedek,
King of
Salem,
and he was the king of Salem.
brought forth bread and wine,
Uh-huh.
and he was the priest of the Most High Elohim.
Now he was a priest of the Most High, right? What?
And he blessed him
And he blessed him.
and said,
Uh-huh.
Blessed be Abraham.
So what happened is Melchizedek took this to Abram. Uh-huh. He said, "Blessed be Abram."
Of the Most High Elohim,
Uh-huh.
possessor of heaven and earth.
And the Most High, the Elohim, is the one that possessed the heaven and the earth, not Abram. Read.
And blessed be the Most High Elohim,
Uh-huh.
which has delivered thy enemies into thy hand.
Uh-huh.
And he gave him tithes of all.
So we see that Melchizedek, this is not based on the tithing. This is based on that Melchizedek blessed Abram, right? And which was the beginning of this whole thing of the seed being sown. So let's go into Genesis 15, 15 and 12. Genesis 15 and 12.
15 verse 12.
Uh-huh.
And when the sun was going down,
Mm-hmm.
a deep sleep fell upon Abram.
Uh-huh.
And lo, a horror of great darkness fell upon him.
So the Most High called Abram to go to sleep, and his horror of great darkness came upon him. What?
And he said unto Abram,
Okay, what did he say?
Know of surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in the land that is not theirs.
So wait a minute. During the time he said that was a prophecy of somewhat, but he gave the understanding to Abram, right? A lot of people would say this is during the time that well, let's continue to read this verse. Keep going.
And shall serve them.
And shall serve them what?
And they shall afflict them 400 years.
So wait a minute now. It said they'll afflict them 400 years. So a lot of people take this down and they'll take it over to the Egyptian time when they were in bondage in Egypt. But we know they wasn't there for 400 years, right? Do we know that?
They wasn't afflicted the whole time they were there.
No.
Yeah, they had it pretty good on it.
70, right? Because a lot of them wanted to go back.
70, 80 years, they lived pretty good.
Like 270 years.
So during the time that the Most High began to deal with Abram and give Abram this information, he already knew aforetime what was going to happen way ahead, right? Give me that 18th verse, brother.
Verse 18.
Uh-huh.
And the same day the Elohim made a covenant with Abram,
So he made a covenant with Abram, and what?
saying,
Uh-huh.
Until thy seed
Wait a minute. Until that what?
until thy seed
Okay.
have I given this land.
So it take land in order for a seed to grow, unless you're gonna do it hydroponically. It take land for a seed to grow. So that seed that he gave, the seed of Abram, he took Abram's seed and he what? And he put it into this land. This seed was supposed to do something. What?
From the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates.
Drop down to that. Give me 17. Genesis 17 and hit 5. Genesis 17 and 5.
17 verse
So
5.
we see that he gave them this land. But how many of y'all know that Israel never got, Abram never got the whole land? They never got it. They never received all this land. So it was never fulfilled back then. This never happened. It began, but it didn't completely happen. Right? Because Israel didn't even get all the land. Same land. Let's go ahead and read Genesis 17 and 5.
Neither shall thy name any more be called Abram,
Okay?
but thy name shall be Abraham.
Uh-huh.
For a father of many nations have I made thee.
So now, he's lining Abram up. He's planting his seed because, see, remember, Abram's seed, right, was given a land. But he said, what? Many nations. So Abram's seed was going to be many nations, meaning that Abram's seed was going to grow down through the generations. It was supposed to grow in this land. And what?
And I will make thee exceedingly fruitful.
You see that? So he's going to take his seed and make his seed fruitful in that land. Read.
And I will make nations of thee.
Read.
And kings shall come out of thee.
And
I will establish my covenant between me and thee and thy seed after thee in thy generation for an everlasting covenant. To be a Elohim unto thee, and to thy seed after thee.
And read.
And I will give unto thee and to thy seed after thee the land wherein thou art a stranger.
And the land where thou art a stranger?
All the land of Canaan.
For what?
For an everlasting possession. And I will be their Elohim.
Israel never received it. They didn't get all of this. They never got all the land. He said all the land. They never got all the land of Canaan. They never got it. Give me that next verse.
And Elohim said unto Abraham, Thou shalt keep my covenant, therefore, thou and thy seed after thee in their generations.
So, let's look at it. The Most High took Abram, and he promised Abram that his seed would be placed with this land. And with this land, he was going to place with it, he was going to put this seed in. This seed was going to be what? It was going to grow, right? It was going to be what we at with that? It said it was going to be exceedingly fruitful in this land, right? So you got to think about what the Most High is saying. Did he go back and he continued to go down? And when you get to that 9th verse, he said, "Thou shalt keep my covenant therein, thou and thy seed after thee in their generations." So just like you might have to do a what do y'all be doing out there when y'all put the dirt and the rocks and the old peelings of apples and the old peelings of y'all making a compost, right? This covenant is like a compost. This law is like a compost. It's like what feed the people. And because listen, the land was to become. We talked about this before. The land was supposed to become a what? And there's a land that he gave them, because it's the same land that he's going to give, there's going to be the same land he's going to be talking to Jacob and on down the line about. But the same land was supposed to become a what? A righteous land. It's supposed to be a holy land, right? A holy land for a what? A holy people. If the people is not holy, they got to leave the land. But what keeps the land and the people together is that the land is already holy. It obeys the Most High. The people, if the people is not righteous and stand to the covenant, that debunks that. That's a deal breaker. That's a covenant breaker. Once they break the covenant, then what? They can't grow in that land because you can't. He's not going to allow them to stay in the land, which he did not do, a righteous land, and they are simple people. So it takes the covenant, yes, ma'am.
That's just like Adam and Eve.
Exactly.
Once they said they had to get up out of
You had to go. You got to get up out of here.
Can't be in there.
So that's the same. So this seed was supposed to, this seed, or better yet, this wheat was supposed to grow there. But when the wheat, right, was tainted, it couldn't grow. Let's go Matthew 25. Give me Matthew 25. I think that's Brother.
Matthew 25.
Yes, Brother Red.
Matthew 25.
I need Isaiah 29 and 9. Matthew 20. Matthew. What I tell you?
25.
13 and 25.
Oh, Matthew 13 and 25.
All right. Yes. Matthew 13 and 25.
Yeah. That's what you said.
So remember the tares and the wheat. Right? This wheat had been planted, but we know that tares was planted within this, right? But let's just read this. It says in Matthew 13 and 25, it says what?
It says, but while man slept, his enemy came and sowed tares amongst the wheat.
And what?
And went his way.
So his enemy just came in there and he just dropped some tares in along with the wheat. and kept going, right? So how could that be if we talk about people? Any comments? How can that be? We talk about Israel. We talk about that
So
people.
the terrorists were the fake Jews that came over or whatever.
That too.
I say it's a spiritual corruption, an economic corruption. You know, I think a lot of times people let people into their country because of things they have to offer them. So, you know, how did Greece get in? Well, first you had a bunch of merchants show up to the shore, something exchange. You know, we got this. Then the dialogue, you know, happens, and then, you know, communication, and then marriages, and then eventually somebody's running out of money, selling out of time. So I think it's economic corruption, you know, people coming into your land, selling on the Sabbath, people also fixing ideas in a way that, you know, corrupts, I guess, the law as it is.
Yeah, it seems
Which-
I guess it seems harmless too. When they
Seems
first-
harmless, yes.
When they first come in, they.
But when you corrupt the law, what is it you corrupt?
You corrupt the land.
And when you corrupt the land,
People,
there you go. Because guess what? Remember, the law and the covenant is what was going to keep the people into the land, which was going to allow them to what?
Grow.
To grow, right? So, we got to look at what is a true terror.
The terror looks like wheat, but it ain't wheat. It chokes up the wheat.
So, what do the terror provide? I mean, what do it produce?
It destroys.
But it produces something.
Oh, Brother Richardson, he said they know all that produces weeds.
No,
And then
tares.
how would it? Is it something that would
It's
show strength?
dysfunction, I guess.
It's something
Something
that
other
would
than a good seed.
So terrors
less prosperity.
produces a flower. I won't say dandelion, but it looks like wheat. I've seen them before. You put a piece of wheat and you put it beside this terror, they look almost identical, right? But the terror will produce a flower when the wheat will produce, once of course, wheat, right? Right? So the wheat produces something after its own kind. So remember, unless a grain of wheat or a wheat stalk fall to the ground, right, it can't produce. When it falls back to the ground, then it can get into the soil, and now it turns into a seed. Wheat produces seed. Tares produces flour. It'll look like a wheat, and it looks, but at the end, it just want to give you something glorious and something for the moment, a flower, something to make you feel good, something to make you look good, something that you like to see by your eyes. You see what I mean? That's how doctrine slide in. That's how doctrine come in. When doctrine come in and it's not the right doctrine, what does it do? It separates you from the righteousness, right, of the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, and it pulls you away from the covenant. Right? Yes, ma'am.
And you can say that about most of the religions spread out because it looks like even Islam. They have some things that we do. It looks like it, but it ain't the same.
My point is that.
Christianity it looks like it, but it ain't.
You're up in the car driving down that road.
And the Jewish people looks like it.
I'm driving straight down that road right there. So that's what we got to look at. So you got to think about it. Before we do that, Sister Kelly have catapulted me right into where I want to be. Let's go to Isaiah. Who did I give Isaiah to? Isaiah 29. Isaiah 29 and 9. Because don't think anything going to happen that the Most High is not going to recognize, and he going to combat things from away or aforetime. He told Abraham that his people were going to go into a strange land, and these people, they're going to be strange land, and they're going to afflict them for 400 years. We just hit that, almost hit that. I don't know if we hit the 4 already, we almost at the 4, but it happened. Right? Isaiah 29, verse 9. And it reads, that's why.
Isaiah 29, verse 9.
Uh-huh.
Stay yourselves
It says, stay yourselves
and wonder.
and wonder
Cry ye out
Cry ye out
and cry.
and cry.
They are drunken,
Oh, I wonder who they talking about. Keep reading.
but not with wine.
They not drunken with wine.
They stagger,
Ah, they stagger.
but not with strong drink.
They ain't had no they ain't had no strong alcohol. They ain't had none of that old what do we call it stuff, that moonshine. But they staggering. Read.
For the Most High has poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep.
So the Most High don't have a reason to put the Gentiles into a deep sleep. He don't have a reason to put the wicked into a deep sleep. But those that were meant for righteousness that disobeyed him, he have a reason to put them into a deep sleep. He has poured, he has poured out upon you a spirit of deep sleep. What?
And has closed your eyes.
What?
The prophets and your rulers.
Wait a minute, go back to what you said first.
The prophets and your rulers.
But this is not just Gentile prophets. We talking about Israelite prophets. You would not have gotten the thing of Joseph being a daddy if it wasn't something going down through that staggered these guys' mind and they believe that crap. You would not have gotten the 12-hour Sabbath that says that the Most High is imperfect on the way he do things, that somebody could escape the Sabbath by working during the day or working at night, they can escape the Sabbath. When he put forth that Sabbath, there was no escape. Everybody had to deal with the law of the Sabbath. No escape. Ain't no way around it. Because it wasn't made for some people, it was made for all people. Right? So now, even in this hour, you got people that teach the Bible as Israelites that is not lined up completely with the Most High, that are asleep, that are staggered. They have a sense of the truth. But when you take yourself and make yourself more interested in prosperity in this world as an Israelite than it is to subject yourself to the truth and look toward the kingdom, that is when that slumberness or the sleep is placed upon you. Because why? You're not beneficial to him. You're being beneficial to yourself and the way you do things on this earth. So it's going to come. Not to mention, in the regular churches, they want to benefit from the money of these people. They got rings big as my head probably, and big as the palm of my hand on their head. And the people out in the audience are just as broke as they want to be. You'll come out better snatching $1 out of an ant's pocket than you would getting out of their pocket.
I need that.
Huh? That ain't in their pocket. So what I'm saying is that these people that are teaching, calling no names, out here in a lot of these churches are slumbering. They are asleep. It's not because they had a drink. It's not because they had beer, wine, or moonshine. Right? But he also said he'd been put in deep sleep and has what? And closed their eyes. He said, the prophets and your rulers, the seers, has he covered. And give me that 11th verse.
And the vision of all is become unto you as the words of a book that is sealed.
If a book is sealed, he said that, and the vision. It said, and the vision. Right? So you got a nugget back there. Did you get one?
No, that scripture you just read. Read it again.
Come on, give it to him again.
Verse 11. And the vision of all is become unto you as the words of a book that is sealed.
So if the vision, it says that the vision, right, it's not saying that the trueness, it's not saying the understanding, it's saying, and the vision. So,
That's not the text.
Two men can read the same thing. One can be living in accordance to righteousness, and the other one can be living in accordance to prosperity. And the one that living in accordance to prosperity will have a different vision from the one that's living in righteousness. Why? You see? Because the book is closed to the man that's trying to get prosperity. He's not going to get the understanding. But the man that's trying to get that righteousness is going to be available to that man. That make sense? And we was at that, and then it says what? It says, what was your 11th verse? You said,
which men deliver to one that is learned. Which men deliver to one that is learned.
So you can be a person that have an understanding of what the truth is, and somebody can deliver you something that from a sealed book, that means from their own understanding, from their own thought, and they're taking it and deliver it to you. Right? Now you sitting among the wheat, and they take a tare and plant it among the wheat. Does that make sense?
I saw online that.
I'm sorry. What say, oh, you said that. I thought it was, she would say something. I thought it was her. You said that happens all the time, huh? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
The Russians they made a song, an orchestra made a song, and in the song they talk about coming and destroying America. And one thing they say, why the Negroes quietly sleep.
See that? Yeah. While we are asleep.
It told us, the song told us to sleep.
And guess what though? We came over here as Negroes.
But it's funny that we ain't bothering no Russians. The Negroes, the main ones ain't bothering no.
No, but I think
they want to come and destroy the Negroes.
But you know why?
They can't do that.
But you know why though? Because as they sleep, our adversary is using them to make war, to win war, just like they use them to build this nation.
Yeah, I think about too that they use us in order to be the best cops, the best lawyers, the best military, like law-abiding citizens. I question why was Jerome Butler, a white man, trying to take down the American judicial system, but then they had the black man, Jamie Foxx, who had none of the skills that this CIA killer,
Right.
Jamie Foxx was able to put the whole thing together because it was in him. Like Jamie Foxx was the best watchdog.
Right, exactly.
It's the same message in a lot of movies.
It's a lot of
like even the one Bird Box that just came out. The two people that really rescued them throughout the whole movie were the brothers. They both got killed, but if it wasn't for them, they all would have died. Period.
It's the same thing in that 1, 2, 3 where that train had got hijacked by Jerome Butler. It was like Jerome Butler, Denzel Washington. They had the black guy. He stood up and got shot so the woman could live. The woman rebelled against the guys who hijacked the train. He stood up and got killed. So it's like we're sacrificing. We're sacrificing, and we're fuel. We're the best kind of fuel there is. So even if they come here and take over, they're gonna have to try to break us again.
They got to deal with us.
That's why they want us to sleep. That's why they want us to sleep.
They're not going to want to exterminate us. They're actually going to want to break us again. China's going to want to break us, just like China is breaking Africa. The Russians, they're going to Africa too. So the world population, they don't tend to, because they need a consuming population to fuel all their exploits and stuff.
And it's a known fact. If you want to build a nation, go get Israel. They'll build it.
But most are coming.
Yeah. And give me that. And give me that 12th verse. Help me read it. Okay. And give me that 12th verse.
Verse 12. And the book is delivered to him that is not learned.
And the book is delivered to him that is not learned. What?
Saying, read this, I pray thee. And he said, I am not learned.
You see that? Read.
That makes me think about the slaves.
Yeah.
After they taught us for hundreds of years that you cannot read. Now, a lot of us now refuse to read.
don't want to read.
You can't read, you know, I don't understand that.
Even when,
And it's the same thing the church is promoting as well.
even as we tell them this truth, and we tell them to go read it for yourself, they won't read it.
No.
Because they don't have a desire to read it. You know what I mean?
It's easier to believe what that man is telling you than it is to get understanding yourself.
Well, every time my father told me to go get the belt, after the first time I went and got it, when I went and got that belt the first time, he beat me with that belt. And every time after that he told me to go get the belt, I didn't want to go get that belt. If I came back, he'd come get me. You know what I
He
mean?
was going to get understanding then.
I had understanding why I went to go get the belt. I knew what was going to happen.
Right.
But did I want to go get it? No. So when they begin to read, they beat them if they read. So when they told them to go read it, for what? I don't want to read that, man. There might be a beating involved in this. I don't need to know this.
And I knew what sister told me one time. She said, that's just too much information for me. I don't need to know.
I told somebody, I asked somebody, I said, did y'all know they took some books out the Bible? And they told me, they said, well, look, and they said the Lord. If the Lord meant for me to get those books, I'll read those books, he would never let them take it out the Bible.
That's what they did. They came in and
And I'm wondering,
for me to read.
right, so how closed is your mind?
But they won't even read the majority of the Bible.
They won't read they won't even read it. They won't even read it without, but they won't read it without the Apocrypha.
But when I was told that, it made me wonder, like, I was like, let me find anything that went against the Father and was taken away out of it. We was trying to find it. Like every week we had an article, a book, or something.
Trying to find, I wanted to know.
It was something that was there.
So if we got Israel, all of Israel, let's just say it this way. And we're going to use the hypothetical thing here. If all black people, hypothetically, not talking about the other nation, the Hamites, I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about if all of Israel, the one that's known Israel, and I don't have nothing against Hamites, I love them, they're good people. They are cute too.
Keep going. Get back on task. Let's go.
No, I had to say that because one time I said Hamites was ugly, and I
See, you had to say it.
I withdraw what I said about them. I'm leaving it alone, right? So now, so if all the black people are Israel, right? Every time what do you call the ones that preaching for money? Prosperity preacher go in and preach prosperity into these people. Every time somebody go in and preach another doctrine other than what's coming through the truth, plant a terror along with us. We all stand the same. If you look at everybody, you know, if you took people out of a church and people out of a gathering, which we have an assembly, and you put them all together and nobody said anything, you wouldn't know who was what. Right? Because we all look at the same nation. So if you're going by look, that's one thing. So when you get the tares and the wheat together, you can't go by look. You got to look at what they produce.
It's just like
the wheat produces seeds, and the tares produces what? Flowers, right? So the tare come out and say, oh, if you sold me $10 or I better yet, $110, oh, you're gonna get more of abundance back into you. That's a big flower. It looks good. It's pretty. But we say if you don't get the law, statutes, and commandments, you're gonna burn. Yes, Mom.
I went to beg and preach one time.
A begging preacher. Go ahead.
What did the Bible say? Don't give the other way down more than you. But then if you read it off the clothes.
Ran and gave it away. Why? You know why he went in there, right? That man want to keep that money. We ain't gonna get it unless sister. Go ahead. And look, he was hoping that when he opened that door back up, you was gone. He was hoping that you were gone. Where do we stop our best? I'm sorry, where we at? Yes.
I was gonna say, even when you think about the idea of Israel, when they don't use prosperity, but they use prosperity in a different way. We're the best group, we're the best looking garbs, we're this,
Right.
that. And if you leave us, then you are Satan, or you're gonna die. That tactic that they use to bully and hurt people, and for whatever reason, we have some low self-esteem people who buy into that, thinking that these people are of the Most High.
That's why a lot of these groups like to catch unlearned people and teach them things that out of a sealed book. How can you teach somebody out of a sealed book? Isn't that something? That's why they drift in different directions. That's why it's important not to go with every stream. Some doctrine is not. I can start reading something in the first 5 or 6 words. I know that's not for me. I don't read it, right? Some doctrines are not worth reading. They're not. They're not even worth your time. And then if any dog that bring a bone carries a bone. So you got to see, if you find that this guy bring you one bone, don't think he's not going to give you his only bone. He got to keep some bones for himself. So this dog going to carry some bones. So we got to understand that when you go into these camps and stuff, which, you know, if somebody wanted that's on them, but you got to realize that these guys are not on the even, they're not on the even ball field here, right? They got a few more yards to play with than you do, right? And that third verse, that 13th verse, did we ever get in there? No. Did you finish? Okay, go ahead and read it.
Verse 13.
Wherefore?
Wherefore, Yahweh said, for as much as this people draw near me with their mouth, and with their lips do honor me, but have removed their heart far from me.
How? How did they remove their heart? Oh, they will holler out, oh God. Oh, I love it. I am blessed and highly favored. I love the Lord. Did you keep his commandments? Because he said, if you love me, keep my commandments. But he said that they are drawn away. When we at there, he said that, but they remove their heart. If you remove your heart, that means you remove your love. Your love in the Most High means that you're supposed to show that you're keeping his commandments. You're trying to stay within the covenant, but if you're not trying to stay within the covenant, if you're not trying to keep the commandments, then what? Then your love is being drawn away from the Most High. And we have to see it for exactly what it is. It's not because you go, well, I'm going to church, man, this guy preached a really good lesson last week. Man, I tell you, I think one lady we knew, I don't know this, one lady said that she wrote $1 million on her wall. Because the man, the planters told her she was going to, I didn't mean to call the man out, Jesse, told her she was going to get this money if she sold that seed. She sent Jesse that money, and she never got it. I think she got put out the house.
She did.
She lost the house.
And
somebody's painted over that word $1 million. And she still ain't got it. Huh?
She said she wrote a real.
She said,
yeah.
She said that she didn't write it small. She wrote it real big. So everybody would see it to show to her faith that she believed that she gonna get this by the sowing of the seed that she sowed. And she lost the house. Isn't that something?
She's the only one.
So I'm not the only one who knew the lady. I'm not the only one who knew she did that. As you see, that sister back there speaking about it, so she knew the lady too. I'm just, we see a lot from here. From this standpoint right here. Right?
A different man from a different church said that you get the Lord told him he was giving $1 million and everybody had to come to service on that night.
If they didn't come that night, he wasn't gonna give another $1 million. And he ain't got that money yet. I think he lost his house. He lost his house too. So I would not be saying that. But anyway, I won't lose nothing I got. So now, we hear right, it says that they have removed their heart far from me. And their fear toward me is taught by what? By the precept of men. You see that? If you unlearn, then a man can give you his own precept, and you take it and run with it, and he got you out there. You have became officially a terror. And that 14th verse says what?
Verse 14. Therefore, behold,
behold,
I will proceed to do a marvelous work among this people.
I know this is going to happen. But I'm going to do a marvelous work upon these people. What?
Even a marvelous work and a wonder.
For what?
For the wisdom of their wise men shall perish.
Huh?
For the wisdom of their wise men shall perish.
It's going to become a time that these men that's supposed to be wise going to be too dumb to even give out a personal precept. They keep going. He's going to break them down. But he said that he's going to what? Remove, where we at? He's going to do a marvelous work. He's going to remove the wisdom of the wise men and what?
Wise men shall perish.
Uh-huh.
And the understanding of their prudent men shall be hid.
Read.
Woe unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel from the Most High. And their works are in the dark. And they say, who seeth us?
Who seeth us? I'm going to get this money, but who see me? I'm going to get these suits, but I'm going to drive a nice car. I'm going to get the big house, but who see me? Because those men, because they are asleep, they are slumbering, their mind can only see the prosperity of this world. They can't see beyond it. I'm going to get mine while I can get it. Read. And that 15th verse?
15. Woe unto, and who knows?
16, I'm sorry.
16. Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. For shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not?
What?
Or shall the thing framed say of him that framed it, he hath no understanding?
So they going against the Most High. How can you say the Most High is not right? He didn't do that right. Or, I made you to be a weak. But you're a terror, and you're saying that he didn't make you right as a weak. You don't have to do you don't have to keep the covenant. You can live this way, and you can still qualify for the the inheritance of a weak. It's not true. And give me Brother Johnson, Matthew 13 and 26. So all of this right here, it goes back to that while men slept. It was kind of hot in here.
13 and 26.
Y'all good? Okay.
I got excited.
I did too.
I'll take one for the team. I got too many clothes on, man. Right? Take off that turtleneck. I can't prepare for the cold weather. Matthew 13 and 6 reads, that's why.
26, right?
Yes, sir.
But when the blade was sprung up.
See, the wheat and the tare was right there together, but when that blade came out and sprung up
and brought forth fruit. Then appeared the tares also.
Right, because see, when the blade sprung up, remember, the blade sprung up, it brought forth fruit. Once the tares was cut down and their seed began to produce wheat, the tares were cut down and they only had a flower, and the flower just dwindled away. You see? Then what?
So the servants of the householder, came and said unto him, Sir, didn't thou sow good seed in thy field? From whence then hath it tares?
See that? So the Most High put in this covenant. He put in these laws, statutes, and commandments inside the Holy Land, right? That he had deemed to be holy. And when man began to be corrupted by the different nations taking on these different gods, and we all know that the Most High is a what? Is a jealous God, or is a jealous Elohim. And him being jealous, what we're going to be jealous of? He told you from the beginning. He said, don't put no other God before me. But when they began to put other gods before and start taking on the customs of those people, they taunted the land. But we look around and say, how did that happen? How a people that have been chosen as a holy people, a people that have been chosen unto the Most High Himself, chosen unto Him Himself, right? How can those people be turned away inside of a land that He had given directly to those people to be holy, a holy people for a holy land? How did corruption get there? Isn't that something? People wonder, how did that happen? But we're going to hit Romans 1 and 18. Romans 1 and 18. Who will just read?
Romans 1 and 18.
Romans 1 and 18.
For the wrath of Elohim is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men, who hold the truth in unrighteousness.
See that? They hold the truth in unrighteousness, right? Because they're going to take a little bit of truth and they're going to put it with a lie to keep it unrighteous. But the wrath of the Most High is revealed against such ungodliness. There's nothing can take place on this earth that the Most High don't say, okay, it can be done. Read.
Because that which may be known of Elohim is manifest in them.
What?
For Yahuwah hath showed it unto them.
Read.
For the invisible things of Him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power with Godhead, so that they are without excuse.
Read.
Because that when they knew Yahuwah, they glorified Him not as Elohim, neither were thankful.
You see, even the children of Israel wanted to go back. They wanted to go back in Egypt, back to bondage, so they could eat whatever it was them people ate.
I can see the Messiah coming right now. You know, a lot of people will be like, I ain't gonna do them too.
Right. I'd rather just stay in this present world. He said, but the kingdom is over there. Now I stay in America.
I read it.
You see? But these people, they knew him, but they didn't respect him. What were you saying?
Yeah, they're attached. That was like one of my biggest problems was like, as a young man, it's like, I barely been able to figure out what's the deeper meaning of scripture, like this, as far as like sexual, cultural, and, also, the impact, I can make on people as far as like communal, and, how much money I had, I haven't had the money, like college debt and the rejection I had got from the world when I went a different path. And I think a lot of it I was for a long time I was stressing about, and it's just that, if you got like the spirit, that's one thing that's something I'm working on, something I realized you got the spirit, you can constantly be renewed every day.
Exactly.
Not happening, like the Messiah talk about in the sermon, I've been thinking about it lately, like, don't worry about tomorrow, what you're gonna eat, what you're gonna wear. Today, what is your every second, mind state, what's your every, are you, if you build that wheel, then it will go with you, even if the whole world changes and you lost everything you had, you still have the practice that you focus on every day instead of thinking about what you have 10 years later, 20 years later, what you're building up for, as far as maybe you want to create something for the future. And, that might not even be a possibility because you don't know if that future is going to come. So.
But people that are rich and with money, the majority of them don't even think about the future. They live in the now.
Yeah.
They got so much money that all they can live in the now. Every day they can spend money and do what they want to do right now.
That's why they get shocked when they go away.
Right.
When they don't have it.
That's why a lot of these pro football players, basketball players, and all these people,
Even low
they get all this money,
personalities. Low-
right? They get all this money, they don't invest the money. A lot of them don't. A lot of them take money, they just spend and spend, spend. And you look up, if you do a research, find out how many people that received all this money. Have y'all noticed every time they separate themselves, the majority of them go broke. Are they already broke? They gotta sell their house that they were living in. They gotta sell the cars because they living in the now. They're not. But somebody like us that gotta go to a job every day and make money, we put back for the future because we know that we're gonna need this money down the line. I just can't go broke. I just can't go out there. I'm telling you, I can't work all, just go out there and just go in the cup and blow it all. I can't do that. They just not going, and I'm glad I'm not required to, because I can't do that, right? But it says that in the 20th verse, it says, yes ma'am.
Yeah, I think about it, his generation has a different struggle. You know, we all have different struggles. But when I was a teenager growing up, okay, I'm gonna grow up, I'm gonna get married, I'm gonna have a career, or
Right.
I'm gonna have kids and blah blah blah. But his generation, especially,
We have to accept the condition of the world, and at the same time, understand we're not gonna get the kind of like opportunities our parents had. We got a different kind of, different kind of war we gotta fight, as young people, as far as just accepting, like, could a 20-year-old average male accept dying in the wipeout of civilization? We've been programmed with more movies and popcorn and, candy, and then y'all generation, where y'all had to work at 15 and y'all,
Right.
Stuff like that. So it's like we were raised soft, and so the contemplation and the depth that it takes to accept the changes of this world and the uncertainty is.
it really messes with your mind.
It's
It probably be a lot more overwhelming.
Yeah,
Just a thought.
They soft,
Mm-hmm.
and they only make them soft. You watch the news, they're indoctrinated and make them softer, telling them being a man is not good, and don't fight, and
Toxic masculinity.
They want men to start wearing dresses.
Yeah, that's the thing. They want to gay all our men down. They want to push their gay agenda on us. And sad thing about it, we accepting it for money. We're doing this for money. You're making 2 million here, but I can give you 20 million here. If you put this dress on, maybe put a little lipstick on, we give you a little wig, and you want this money for whatever reason because you want to be a part of the status quo, the people that made it. So you sell your soul and you do those things, and now you ain't even a man no more.
Because
You
once
gave
put
up
that
your
dress
rights
on-
to be a man.
Once you put that skirt on, you're gonna be on that couch.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to the couch after that.
Yeah, pretty much.
You gotta get the couch.
Since you got it on, you might as well perform.
They might like you lifting.
Yeah.
That's what the first verse says. Because that when they knew our Elohim, they glorified him not as our Elohim. Isn't that something? It's hard for people to give, even the ones that know, that claim to know him, it's hard for them to give him that glory. I say neither were thankful, but became vain in their what? In their imaginations. And their foolish heart was what? Darkened. The 22nd verse says what?
Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools and changed the glory of the uncorruptible Elohim into an image made like to corruptible man.
How many of y'all saw that brother that made himself, took his picture and made himself on a Mashiach?
Yeah.
The purple.
The purple people. 3K's right.
Oh,
Police.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's him that he
Right.
be wearing on his shirt.
The
That's
Y50.
Yeah. 3K's right. He'll give you a case if you need one. You ain't need one, he'll get to you. It's funny. And what? And then that 23rd verse is what?
And to birds and four-footed beasts and creeping things.
You see that? It says that, and they changed the glory of an uncorruptible Elohim unto an image made like what? a corruptible man. Birds, y'all saw that old long-haired hippie they got running around here on those pictures that my mother had me, when I was my mother, everybody I knew as a kid had me looking at this white man thinking he was Jesus, making me feel like I was inferior to that people, and I wasn't. And then unto birds, they got people that they worship birds. They got people that worship four-footed beasts, the bull, and the creeping things, right? Wherefore Yah also gave them
up to uncleanliness through the lust of their own hearts, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves.
This is what happens to the terrorists. Read.
Who changed the truth of the Elohim into a lie, and worship and serve the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. For this is cause Elohim. This cause Elohim gave them up unto vile affections.
Read.
For even their women did not change the natural use into that which is against nature.
Even they women. I had a woman that buck on me a few years ago. I said, man, I ain't gonna tell you what went down with that. Keep going.
And likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burnt in their lust one towards another.
And say what now? And the men did what?
And the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burnt into their lust one unto another, towards another.
Just talking about that, and they end up on that couch. Read.
Men with men, working that which is unseemly.
Working that which is unseemly. Unseemly. It's just disgusting. That ain't supposed to work like that. No. Read.
And receiving in themselves that recompense of their error, which was meat.
He didn't say receiving upon themselves. He's talking about the men. He said receiving in themselves that recompense of their error, which was what?
Meat.
Read.
And even as they...
I'm glad. Man, Lord, something. I'm so glad that thing didn't say M-E-A-T. Keep going, brother.
And even as they did not like to retain Elohim in their knowledge, Elohim gave them over to a reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient.
You see that? So even the things that they do, and they think that it's okay, they think that it's fine, they think that they're doing the right, they really believe that they're doing the right thing because they have been turned over. Read.
Being filled with all unrighteousness.
What else?
Oh, I was that loud.
Please forgive me, y'all.
With all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness.
Look at what they're saying. Read.
Covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy.
Look at it.
Murder, debate.
They just, I'm telling you, we talking about Israel. Israelites just murdered a woman. Keep going.
Deceit.
And then they got debate. Then they gonna debate with you against what they done. Read.
Malignity.
Trying to deceive you. Malignity. What?
Whisperers.
And they going back and forth. Here comes some more stuff.
Backbiters.
They still doing that.
Hiders of the Elohim.
Oh, really? Keep going.
Despiteful.
Oh, come on.
Proud. Boasters. Inventors of evil things.
And here it comes.
Disobedient to parents.
Without
understanding.
See, they don't have an understanding. The understanding been taken away from them. Read.
Covenant breakers. Without natural affection. Implacable.
And what?
And
unmerciful.
Unmerciful. Pardon me.
You see that? So now we wonder. It says that back in Matthew 13 and 26, it says what? It says that so the servants of the household came and said unto him, Sir, does not thou sow good seed in thy field? From whence then have these tares? The Most High had planted real men real women. Women weren't supposed to go after women. Men weren't supposed to go after men. But we look back and say, where did all this come from? Who did they get this from and why are they doing this? Those are terrors. Those are things that should not be taking place in this hour. And now we got, brother, if you give me Matthew 13 and 28. You got it. You give me Jeremiah 12 and 7.
Matthew 13, verse 28.
Yes, sir.
He said unto them, An enemy hath done this.
An enemy done this. Read.
The servant said unto him, Wilt thou then that we go and gather them up?
And I said, well, should we go gather them up? And which them are they talking about? Give me Jeremiah 12, 12 and 7. Jeremiah 12, 7.
Jeremiah 12. Jeremiah 12, chapter 7, verse 7.
No.
Chapter 12,
Verse
verse 7.
7.
Jeremiah 12, verse 7.
See, this is what happens when they don't, when Israel don't realize the laws was given to Israel. When they don't obey the laws, there's always some circumstances you got to deal with in the process of being disobedient. And here it comes. You ready?
Yeah.
I
have forsaken my house.
And Jeremiah 12, verse 7 says that the Most High say, I have forsaken my house. What?
I have left my heritage.
He said, I have left my heritage.
I have given the dearly beloved of my soul unto the hand of her enemies.
That's Israel. Read.
My heritage is unto me as a lion in the forest. It crieth out against me.
Therefore
I have hated it.
I hated it.
My heritage is unto me as a speckled bird. The birds round about are against her. Come ye assemble all the beasts of the field. Come to devour.
Read.
Many pastors have destroyed my vineyard.
Who did it?
Many pastors.
Not just Joe Blow. It wasn't the average man that walked out of his house.
Joel Osteen.
He got
all of them.
All
yeah.
of them.
Many pastors have destroyed.
I didn't call that name out. That was Brother Chauncey, y'all. Yeah, they I called him out. But we see that brother right there probably been around too long. Yeah, he'll call their name out too. Well,
yeah, y'all just rub it off.
Now you said Joel Osteen is one.
Many pastors have destroyed my vineyard. They have trodden my portions underfoot. They have made my pleasant portions a desolate wilderness.
A desolate
wilderness.
They what?
They have made it desolate, and being desolate, it mourneth unto me.
It makes him mourn. Go ahead.
Mourn, the whole land is made desolate, because no man layeth it to heart.
Because if they laid it to heart, they would have went back to the covenant. If they had laid to heart and they really loved it. See, when you lay it to heart, that means you love somebody. You really consider it. They're not even considering it. They're not even considering having love for Elohim that told them that's a part of this deal. You got to love me. Read.
The spoilers are come up, all high places through the wilderness.
The spoilers, the terrors, has come up all through the high places. What?
For the sword of Elohim shall devour from the one end of the land even to the other end of the land.
So the sword of our Elohim shall what? Devour from one end of the land even to the other end of the land.
No flesh shall have peace.
Even the one, that's why I say, if the righteous be scarce, you say, you know that the righteous people that live in let's just say no man is going to perfectly live this thing. But the ones that live it to the best of their ability, you tell me, if hypothetically, if everybody in here were living righteous, keeping, we're keeping the Sabbath, we're doing everything to the best of our ability, but we are around 300 people, and they come down through there with a sword, and they start cutting down about 80 people. You tell me you ain't gonna be shaking in your boots. I'm gonna be shaking too, but I'm saying, man, I'm not gonna be number 81. You know what I mean? Because he's cutting everybody up. I don't know how these people live. You see? Where you at, brother?
13.
Read.
They have sown wheat but shall reap thorns. They have put themselves to pain, but shall not profit. And they shall be ashamed of their revenues because of the fierce anger of Elohim.
You see that? Because we don't realize where it's going to be. Matthew 13:29. Jeremiah 12:7.
We just did that.
No, I'm sorry. Jeremiah 12:14.
Matthew 13, verse 29.
Hold tight. Make sure I'm ready for this next guy call. There you got it. I'm going to go with Jeremiah. You're going with Matthew 13:20. No, he got 13:29. You got Jeremiah 12:14. No, you know, not you.
I have 13, 29.
Yes, sir. I want 13 first. Matthew.
Matthew 13, verse 29.
Uh-huh.
But he said,
Uh-huh.
Nay, least while ye gather up the tares.
You see that? But he said, but remember, earlier he said, well, should we gather all the wheat up? He said, no, don't do that. No. He had, should they gather the tares? But he said, nah, lest while you gathering up the tares, read.
Ye root up also the wheat with them.
Because if you go down through there, you try to separate the tares and the wheat, they both look so much alike, right? But they had full maturity, right? Then you're going to grab some of the wrong stuff. You're going to grab some wheat in the process of getting these tares, right? So we got some people who appear to be Israel, and they not. Right? They are sold out to this world. And believe it or not, y'all heard this before, you're going to hear it again. There are paid agents in Israel. I don't understand how these brothers with no job can go from Florida to California and back to New York with no money and no job. You know what I mean? We brothers that work all the time, we don't travel like that. You know what I mean?
Man, one now for 3 years from now.
Right. But you see how we have to do it? Yeah. You came from a spare of the moment and say, okay, I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna speak down here in Texas. I'm gonna text you, well, how you being funded, brother? How's that happening? Because we got some sellouts. We got some sellouts, and when they go out there, they two things they do. They give an image that's not godly, one. And the second thing is they give a doctrine that's not godly. And what it does is it take wheat and turn it into tares. That's how they begin to grow. It said the tares grow among the wheat. It was all wheat. But when somebody came through and sold those doctrines and sold those lies into it, right, wheat became tares. But you couldn't just go snatch it all up, because then you get rid of some of the wheat and some of the tares. So the Most High know, it's just like now. The Most High said, no, I'm not going to go down there and, kill all of Israel. Because if I kill all of Israel, I'm going to get some good people of Israel along with the bad. I'm going to wait till that last day, and I'm going to get them, I'm going to let them all stand before me. And they're going to answer some questions. Right? Jeremiah 12:14.
Jeremiah 12, verse 14.
Jeremiah 12, verse 14.
Thus said the Most High, against all mine evil neighbors that touch the inheritance, which I have caused my people Israel to inherit.
He said, everybody that touched that inheritance, which that he caused for his people to inherit, what?
Behold, I will pluck them out of their land.
Out of whose land?
Their land.
Out of their land. So if everybody all spread out, how are you going to pluck them out of their land? Keep reading.
And pluck out the house of Judah from among them.
That's how it's going to be the end gathering. Y'all know when the end gathering comes, everybody going to have to go back to their land. Everybody got to go back where they're supposed to be. People are assigned a place to be, but they have wandered away. But the Most High going to put them right back because there's different laws of the land. And every land was built around the land that he had given to Israel. And the laws of the land of Israel, they were built around that. Yes, ma'am.
Dogs know where they belong.
Dogs do know.
German shepherds, French poodles, Scottish terriers. Everything has its own range.
Right. That was that's next. Got it.
Okay.
Okay, where you at, brother?
Verse 15.
And read.
And it shall come to pass, after that I have plucked them out, I will return, and have compassion on them, and will bring them again, every man to his heritage, and every man to his land.
Read.
And it shall come to pass, if they will diligently learn the ways of my people, if they will diligently learn the ways of my people.
Because he planted the seed of his people into that holy land, and those people were supposed to live a certain way. Until these people can learn to live the way his people learn, right? Read.
To swear by my name.
And what?
The Most High liveth. As they taught my people to swear by Baal.
Because they taught them to swear by Baal the same way. Read.
Then shall they be built in the midst of my people.
Read.
But if they will not obey, I will utterly pluck up and destroy that nation, saith Yahweh.
You see that? Because if you go back in 29, Matthew 13:29 said, but he said, nay, lest while you gather up the tares, ye shall root up also the wheat of them. And then we're going to read that 30th verse. Matthew 13 and 30.
Verse 30.
Chauncey, Isaiah 29:17. Go ahead.
Let both grow together until the harvest.
Until the harvest, until the end time. The harvest is the end time.
Right.
Read.
And in the time of harvest, I will say to the reapers.
Who?
I will say to the reapers.
To the reapers. Y'all know what I see when they say reaper. Read.
Gather ye together first the tares.
Gather the tares first.
And bind them in bundles to burn them.
So we see what's going to happen to these tares that's among people, because you got to think about it. It's got to be more. Based on what we understand, there's got to be more tares of Israel, because he's talking about the wheat. The wheat is it, and the tares grew among the wheat. The tares, 2/3 of Israel is going to become tares. And he's going to bind them, and he's going to burn them. So everybody, these funny doctrines, y'all better get ready. Go ahead. Make sure you take hot showers so you can prepare yourself.
It used to be.
Yeah.
They got showers.
I'm talking real. I'm just trying to get used to some heat is what I'm saying. Stand out there in the sun on a 120 degree day. Just stand out there with a coat on.
Interesting. He said that he was going to gather them first, the tares, and it goes back to like the idea of taking and left behind.
Yes.
He's going to take those first.
Yes.
And so the other ones are going to be left, and you want to be the ones that's left. You don't want to be the one that's taken.
Exactly. So when people talk about back when they was talking about what's called this thing, the rapture, they wanted everybody to be the one that's being taken. But when you're taken unto death, right? Because every time the Most High mentioned that He took somebody, their life ended when He took them. And you can't be taken and go through tribulation. So He said, in the end times, He's going to take the tares and what?
And gather the wheat into my barn.
And the barn is what? The barn can, at this point, the barn can be the wilderness. Can be the kingdom. I didn't go that far to really get that because I was just dealing with the wheats and the tares. But it's according to what time of set this is. So now, we got Isaiah 29. Isaiah 29 and 17. We're coming down to a closure, guys. If you'll give me 1 Corinthians 3 and 5. I'm sorry. Isaiah 29:17. Yes, sir.
Isaiah 29:17.
Give him a moment. Isaiah 29:17.
All right, Isaiah 29:17.
Hold one more second. Okay.
It is not yet a very little while.
Y'all see that? It is not a very little while. People think it's gonna be a little while. You know, it's not a very little while.
And Lebanon shall be turned into a fruitful field. And the fruitful field shall be esteemed as a forest.
Read.
And in that day shall the deaf hear the words of the book.
Because remember, the book was closed. People didn't have a mind to even hear the word. So now he's saying what? He's saying the deaf will be able to hear the words of the book. What?
And the eyes of the blind shall see out of obscurity and out of darkness.
Read.
The meek also shall increase their joy in the land.
Read.
And the poor among men shall rejoice in Holy One of Israel.
Read.
For the terrible one is brought to naught.
So the terrible one is brought to naught, and what?
And the scorner is consumed.
And the scorner is consumed.
And all that watch for iniquity are cut off.
Read, my brother.
That make a man an offender for the word, and lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate.
Read.
And turn aside the just for the thing of naught. Therefore, thus saith Yahweh, who redeemed Abraham, concerning the house of Jacob.
So remember, the seed he planted was Abraham. Y'all remember the beginning of this thing? He planted Abraham in there first. And now I come back and say, he's the redeemer of Abraham. What? Concerning the house of Jacob, because Jacob came under the same covenant with Abraham. That's why they say Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And what?
Jacob shall not now be ashamed.
Israel will not be ashamed now, because Israel was ashamed.
Neither shall his face now wax pale.
Read.
But when he seeth his children, the work of my hands, in the midst of him, they shall sanctify my name, and sanctify the Holy One of Jacob.
Which is the same Holy One of the Holy One of Jacob is the same Holy One of Abraham. Read.
And they also that err in spirit shall come to understand.
Wait. So we're gonna back up. It said the Holy One of Jacob, and shall what? Fear our Elohim of Israel. That's the Holy One of Jacob. And they also what? The err in spirit.
Err in spirit shall come to understanding. And they that murmured shall learn doctrine.
And give me that real quick, right? 2 Corinthians 4:3. Which one y'all got? You got it? Give it to me. Give me 1 Corinthians 3:5. Okay. You had 3 and 5 already, didn't you? No, but go ahead. Go ahead with it. 4 and 3. Okay.
But if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost.
You see that? If the truth is being hid, if the truth is hid in this hour, it's hidden to those that are lost. The ones that are not lost, we know the truth. We know the direction. But those that are lost, they just not getting it, man. They refuse to find it. They refuse to look for it. But to them, we look like we out of order. To them, they believe that we are out of order. They believe that we are going on a spiritual rat and that we are spiritually crazy and we're doing too much, as they would say in this day and hour.
That's true.
But for real, we're not doing too much. They're not doing enough. Right? And then 1 Corinthians 3 and 5. 1 Corinthians 3 and 5. 1 Corinthians 3, verse 5.
Who then is Paul?
Say what now?
Who then is Paul?
So you see that? So we got to understand something. There's many doctrines going around. But when you're teaching the truth, it has to go a certain way. I should be able to go to any assembly that teaches the truth. And I should blend in right away. I should not feel that I can't say anything because I'm going to say something that's out of doctrine. Because if everybody's teaching the same truth, then everything will be fine. But what's beginning to happen is these Israelites are coming up with these doctrines that nobody ever heard of but them. You know, and it's not in the book. So when you go in, I went in one place before, man, and God told me, say, man, you out of, you out of order. I said, why? You don't have fringes on. What?
Oh no.
I don't have fringes. They'll begin at the wall. They was trying to infiltrate, but they didn't. They got kicked out on the head. But they wanted me to come visit them, but they were trying to join us. I said, let me go visit them. And me being the guy that I am, I walked in there with no fringes on. They gonna tell me I'm out of order because I'm not wearing fringes. But those same people that said that to me today are murderers. Those same people that said that today, right, have killed a woman in London. I praise the Most High that I was given a mind to not become a part of it, not to let them blend with me, with us, right? And they would have come and cussed the women out too. So anyway, that wasn't going to happen. Me and Chelsea had to get back to back on him. Where we at? 1 Corinthians, right? 3 verse 5. Let's go.
And who is Apollos, but ministers by whom ye believe, even as the Elohim gave to every man?
Read.
I have planted, Apollos watered, but the Elohim gave the increase.
Because I should be able to go somewhere and speak somewhere, and the same place I go speak at, someone had already planted. I just watered, but the Most High blessed it all. It shouldn't be no ill feelings about that when that happened. You can't be afraid of them coming in and say that the 12-hour Sabbath is wrong. Keep going.
So then, neither is he that planteth anything, neither he that watereth it, but the Elohim that giveth the increase.
He gives the increase. You know, we got people that's so into the man himself. The man that tell me, I'm following this guy. You following the wrong person. You following flesh, that's right. Things of this world. You shouldn't be following a man, because that man can make a dip and you gone. And read.
Now he that planteth and he that watereth are one. And every man shall receive his own reward according to his own labor.
Ooh. So if my labor is the labor of a terror, right, then I'm going to get the reward of being bundled together and burned up. But if I'm doing the right thing, I'll be gathered into the barn. But read that next verse.
For we are laborers together with Yahuwah. Ye are the Elohim's husbandry. Ye are the Elohim's building.
Ooh, remember that? You are the temple. Read. Give me that 10th verse.
According to the grace of Yahuwah, which is given unto me as wise master builder.
But you can't build if you don't know what to build. Read.
I have laid the foundation.
Because the thing is, you got so many people want to get 1,000 books, but they don't know what's in this one. They don't know what's in that book. Know what's in that book. Get that down pat. Did I say it too fast?
Yeah.
Get that down pat. Read, my brother.
I have laid the foundations and another building thereon. But let every man take heed how he buildeth thereupon.
Give us a number. Where you at?
Number 11.
Read.
For other foundations can no man lay than that is laid, which is Yahusha.
Read.
Now, if any man build upon this foundation gold.
Wait a minute. Gold.
Silver.
Turn the TV on tomorrow. You can see gold all over these necks. All over the fingers. I saw a man the other day with a ring on every finger. Silver.
Precious stones.
Even Israel is walking around with gold on their neck teaching. Y'all know that, right? Y'all know they made that little old star thing gold now. They wearing that around their neck. The menorah is fine as you use it if you use it for what the menorah is for. But if you take a menorah and get a gold one made and you hang it around your neck and you basically worshiping that menorah, you have turned that image of a menorah that was so innocent into a piece of worship. Israel got to be careful what they do with what they do, because they're not supposed to make no image of anything from the heavens above or the earth below. We got to be careful how we do this. And read.
Silver,
Uh-huh.
precious stone,
Man had a blue stone on him. That man must be I saw a man with blue stones or something. That man must be what do you call people with the cross with the circle on the top?
Kemet.
Yeah, I think he must be into the Egyptian stuff. I didn't know about the Kemet part. He must be into the Egyptian stuff and kept on moving. Go ahead, brother.
Wood,
Uh-huh.
hay,
Wood, hay, what?
stubble. Every man's work shall be made manifest. For the day shall declare it, because it shall be revealed by fire. And the fire shall try every man's work of what sort it is. If any man's work abide which he hath built thereupon, he shall receive a reward. If any man's work shall be burned, he shall suffer loss. But he himself shall be saved, yet so as by fire.
Read.
Know ye not that ye are the temple of the Elohim, and that the spirit of Elohim dwelleth within you?
We got to remember that. Keep going.
If any man defile the temple of Elohim, he shall the Elohim himself destroy.
So we got to understand something, right? You can defile the temple, right? By putting false doctrine to the temple. You can put false doctrine into the temple and defile it. Read.
For the temple of Yah is holy.
You see that? False doctrine is not holy. Read.
Which temple ye are.
Read, brother.
Let no man deceive himself.
Because they easily do it through their own imagination. Read.
If any man among you seemeth to be wise in this world, let him become a fool, that he may be wise.
Because they're so wise in this world that they know how to manipulate the people and benefit from this world. He's a fool. Read.
He seemed like fools to the world.
Right, yeah. We do. They look at us like, yeah. But the funny part going to be is when he separate the wheat from the tares.
19.
Just waiting on that day. Keep going, brother.
19. For the wisdom of this world is foolishness with Yah. For it is written, he taketh the wise in their own craftiness.
And again?
And again, the Elohim knoweth the thought of the wise, that they are vain.
So you got to see it. You got to be able to understand what's vain and what's not vain. Did you give me Proverbs 6 and 9? Brother Thompson, can you give me Romans 13 and 11? Okay, I'm ready, my brother. Proverbs 6 and 9.
Proverbs 6 and 9.
Everybody ready? Hold on for a second. Proverbs 6 and 9. Last two verses. Yes, sir. Yours Romans 13 and 11. And we're gonna read Proverbs 6 and 9, and it reads thus wise.
How long wilt thou sleep?
You see that? Israel, how long are you going to be asleep? If you wake up already. Just wake up. I mean, it doesn't matter waking up. You can't dream all day long. You're dreaming of this world and all the lusts of the world and all the benefits of this world, but you got to wake up. There's more than that. Read.
O sluggard.
And you say you slugger, because remember he said he put them into a what? A slumber. Read.
When wilt thou arise out of thy sleep?
When you going to get up out the bed? When you going to get up out of there? I'm going to say a different word I ain't said. I was nice. When you going to get up? Somebody needs one with a bucket of water. Holy water. Who said that? Blasphemy. Just hit them with some holy water. Maybe they wake up thinking right. And the water gives them their nose, they're going to think of a certain kind of way anyway. Romans 13 and 11. Romans 13 and 11. And it reads, thus wise. This is the understanding. We got to know about the tares and the wheat. The tares and the wheat is not just tares and wheat. These are the people. And we got to understand they're going to be separated. The tares and the wheat, remember, it started out as wheat, and the tares were planted upon the wheat. Right? So therefore, Israel is going to have false doctrine planted upon them, which is going to lead Israel to be something other than what Israel is supposed to be, a holy nation. And we're gonna read Romans 13 and 11.
Romans 13 and 11.
And that,
And that knowing the time.
and that knowing the time, did you all know that Noah worked on that ark for years and years and years to come? Huh? 120 years. But you look down that road and see how long this can been kicked about the truth of the Most High, and how long even the false prophet said he was coming back. It said that what? That knowing the time,
That now it is high time to awake out of sleep.
it's time to get the hell up. It's time to wake up. People want to lay there in slumber and believe this fantasy that everything's going to be okay at the end time. But when that heat hit that butt, you can't take it. I'm telling you now. You can't take it. Read.
For now is our salvation near. Then when we believe.
So salvation is nearer now than we have ever believed in our lives. Every day is a day closer to salvation, if that day is not the day of salvation. I want to say thank you for your time. May the Most High be with you throughout the rest of your Sabbath. I got one more question, sister.
I've been worried about something.
Uh-huh.
During the time of the Civil War, when the North was losing, Russia helped out, right? So that the South was winning, and Russia stepped in. And then it seemed like Russia for a while was trying to wake up. And I said, and you know, anybody that tried to stand for civil rights, they call it communist.
Right.
And Russia still have a lot of icons over there that they didn't get rid of. Black icons.
Exactly.
I believe sometimes that's why the world hates Russia.
You know what? Well, right, but a lot of the leaders of this world is all in the same boat. It's just that what side of the boat that floating at the time. Because there have been several different leaders of this world, and all of them want to be the superpower. That's why you have Kim Jong-un over there, wherever he's from, and he's trying to be the little missile man to say, "I'll blow everybody up." Then you got the Islamic guys that look, I just walk in with a bomb on my back, buddy. So you got so many different things that put fear into other nations, right? But all of them have been together. They tied into the Rothschilds. They tied into a whole lot of other people that I don't care to mention, but this thing is more, it's greater than than one nation. All these nations are corrupt because all of them made a conscious covenant against the people of Israel, and they all are living and standing with it.
They all want to try to do a little something.
And they all gonna have a little bit of righteousness about it. They're gonna do something that's right to keep you there. Russia did something that's right. America do something that's right. You know what I mean? All of them gonna do something that's right, but all of them is corrupt. They just trying to get it. They're just trying to give the control to the greatest bidder, and however they can get it is what they want.